We're here on stage at Opera San Jose.
Do you love me?
Yeah.
Do I what?
That's one of my favorites.
Little bit of moonlight, there's a little bit of your eyes and mine. Put some miles on the MP3. All we need is blue and green inside. 'Cause every little more.
Hello, this is Lonnie Stark of Stark Silver Creek, and we're here on stage at Opera San Jose, and I'm joined by Larry Hancock, who is a general manager here for Opera San Jose. Thank you for joining us today here on the set of Marriage of Figaro.
I joined in '83. I was Irene Dallas. Irene Dallas is our founder and general director. She founded the company the year I graduated from school, from undergrad, from graduate school, and I was her graduate teaching assistant. So as soon as I graduated, she hired me to join her opera company that she was just forming. And we saved $210,000 out of the production budget this year with a combination of things in the costume shop and in the scene shop.
By taking on some of it.
Rather than hiring individual designers for each show and designing unique things for each show. These walls are actually all on wheels. And they very easily, he said,
Hold on.
pulling like a maniac.
Here, hold on. Okay.
Once you get
Just
it
have to
going.
build the momentum.
Yeah, they move quite easily and perfectly silently, so that quickly facilitates scene changes. So you can see on this side is the scene for the last act, and this side is various walls. You can see the palace walls all match, and so you can go from scene to scene by reconfiguring the walls. And then this huge wall flies in, and these are practical doors, so that you can expose part of this wall by angling these walls up against.
I see, so you have a different set, or you...
That's right, you change locales by moving the walls, you're in a different room. You change the furniture, you move the walls, you have a different place.
This could be a whole sort of strategy for living in small spaces, too.
Yes, put your walls on wheels. Yeah, they're 3 feet thick, 12 feet across, and 18 feet high.
Yes.
So they make a nice, impressive set, and they're exceedingly versatile. We've used them in 3 shows. This is the 3rd show that we've used these walls. Now, that's unique to this show. And of course, we were able to apply things, move the doorways from one side of the wall to another side of the wall, apply steps, the various kinds of things you might need. But it's been early 18th century French. It's been, let's see, Cinderella, which was late Renaissance, and it's now late 18th century Marriage of Figaro, Mozart, 1890s. So it's been lots of different things, and it will about to be 19th century Paris for La Rondine next.
So you basically take these core foundation elements, change the exterior of them, and you have a new set.
That's right.
Besides the cost savings you were mentioning, it must save on time as well.
Well, that's the whole thing, labor and materials.
Okay.
So yes, it saves time and manpower, so to speak. Time equals manpower.
Sure.
And materials. The person who's being worked to death is a scenic charge artist, Serena. Serena Serjama is superior, and she has really had to work hard this year. She's had to paint very elaborate drops that are 60 feet long, 28 feet high, and as a matter of fact, the drawings for La Rondine just arrived yesterday, and she'll start painting that probably on Friday.
So you're doing a lot of things you might have otherwise built out by painting in the details.
That's right.
Okay.
You see these are flat walls with all painted trompe-l'oeil. The trompe-l'oeil we used tricked the eye to look three-dimensional.
Yes.
The trompe-l'oeil that we used in Cenerentola was very convincing. It was meant to be very convincing. This is a little flatter, but we have real three-dimensional elements in the set. So I started going to more live theater than I've ever gone to, because everybody needs it.
Yes.
Everybody
it's definitely a
needs it.
trend we're seeing also working with all the San Francisco Bay Area theater houses as well. It's the same, everyone's under the same sort of crunch.
It's nationwide.
And it's
the Met, it's nationwide.
Yeah. Since you've been here since 1983, for people that are just starting to discover Opera San Jose, what's been the evolution of it over the span of years you've been with it since its very beginning?
Well, we started in a very small 500-seat house with a very small stage. The tallest set piece could be no more than 14 feet. Well, they're bigger than that now.
Yes.
And the opening of the stage was half of the opening of this stage. It was 25 feet.
I see.
So everything was much smaller. And this hall seats 1,100, and that hall sat 529. So everything is exactly twice. The hall is twice as big, the stage is twice as big, but really you have 8 times the volume because it's twice as deep, twice as wide, and twice as high.
I see.
So the voices and the orchestra are much more beautiful here. And the thing that amazes me is you can sit all the way in the far back under the balcony, and it's as clear as possible because the mouth of the singer is aimed straight at you.
Wow.
You can see that.
Yes.
The last row is even with your eyes.
I see. So because of the angle of this.
Exactly. So they're not a long flat balcony. A long flat orchestra. It raises up so that the voices are evenly everywhere. And the very top, I think the sound is the very best. Well, in every house in the world.
Yes.
The very top is where the sound is the very best because the sound follows the ceiling and the walls.
I see.
Mr. Packard commissioned 2 busts, one of Mozart and one of Da Ponte, to bring onto the stage for the last bell so that the composer and the librettist would get their due.
Speaking of Marriage of Figaro, what is this opera about?
There are 3 couples in this opera. And they each of them expected a different thing. So it didn't matter if you loved or didn't love your spouse.
Yeah. It was who you were assigned.
That's right.
By whatever sort of contractual agreements.
And it was true in all classes. We think of it as the royals, but it was in all classes. Nobody chose their own spouse. If you've ever seen, If I Were a Rich Fiddler on the Roof.
We just saw it actually.
It's right there.
Yes.
When he says, "Do you love me?"
Yes.
"Do I what?"
That's one of my favorites. Keep on going.
And she says, "Do I what? Do you love me? Do I love you?"
Yes.
"I wash your socks, but do I love you?" What's that to do with anything?
Yes.
And 200 years ago, it would have been a great surprise for love to be in your marriage. And this opera was written in 1791. And it's right in the middle of that change into the 19th century when love starts being important. And so we have the young people in this opera. For them, love is important in their marriage. And the Count and Countess, it's important for her, but it's not expected by him. And so we have all these people at cross purposes. And that's what this is really about underneath. It's a comedy on top.
Yes, it is a comedy.
But underneath, you have the Countess who's being brutally hurt by the fact that her husband is clearly trying to have amorous relationships with other people, and in particular, on this particular day in which this opera takes place, it all takes place from morning to evening. He's trying to have a relationship with her confidant and handmaid. And then we have another couple that's kind of a surprise couple, and I won't tell you who they are because it would give, if you haven't seen The Marriage of Figaro, you don't know what's going to happen. And it's very cool to suddenly discover that there is a third couple. So there's a double wedding this day. The Count and Countess preside over 2 weddings on the day of the Marriage of Figaro.
So if you do want to support it and go and disappear into a theater house, watch great opera, or disappear into opera house and watch great opera, Marriage of Figaro, right? It's a comedy about differing expectations in marriage, and that's definitely something we can all relate to, I'm sure.
And it's totally farcical. It's very fun.
Yes.
Don't fall down the stairs. Often
He's dispensable.
he has the camera. You're out of business without him.
Oh, thank you. Appreciate the words of support.
What's there. Sorry.
Project it to the camera too, Lonnie.
Oh, if you fall, do not grab onto the camera to save
Drop the camera and go down the stairs.